this is real talk.
It is.
This is real talk. So as you listening, you might want to pause and look at your spouse and be like, look, this is you. Yeah. We need to talk about this because real talk, if you don't talk about it,
right,
that is when people end up getting divorced because they're like, this is not who I married or what I signed up for. Mm-hmm. And I don't like it. Mm-hmm. And people don't always choose to work it out.
Right.
Welcome. This is For Better and Worth,
the podcast where we don't believe you have to sacrifice your relationship while you grow and build your net worth.
We are your hosts.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Erica Young. And we're so glad you're joining us today.
All right, y'all, let's get into it.
The For Better and Worth podcast is sponsored by American Heritage Credit Union, a not-for-profit credit union that helps you take control of your financial future.
As a member of American Heritage, you're an owner. You'll be charged fewer fees, earn more in the form of dividends on your accounts, and have access to lower rates on loans.
Whether your goal is to save for a down payment on a home, create an emergency fund, or build for the retirement you've always dreamed of, American Heritage has the products, resources, and solutions you need.
After all, American Heritage is for the people, not for profit. So to learn more, go to ahcu.co/for better and worth.
Hey, babe, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm good. We had a interesting conversation last night, didn't we?
We did.
I feel like...
So I had been traveling, I came home, and you were like, I want to go out, so we can talk. I was like, we'll talk about what? And you were like, like us and the things that, I was like, well, hold on, now this sounds like entrapment.
Trying to
go out, have a nice meal and just like spend time with my wife. I've been gone.
Yeah. So that's interesting you feel that way because I was thinking, let's get out the house and have the conversation because at home, there's a ton of distractions. There's the dog, the TV. Typically at home, we're more on our phones and we have to tell each other to put our phones away in order to actually communicate. Yeah. And there's all this other stuff, especially if we're trying to cook or have dinner. You know what I mean? Like, but if we're sitting there.
Looking like you trying to set me up? Like,
no.
Hold on now.
No.
You know what? I get my John Wick on, like you ain't setting me up.
I'm the wife of your youth.
And?
See, you know what? I can't fool with you. So anyway, you know what? This is a really good question to ask then. What is the best way to approach you to have a conversation about us?
It was fine.
No, but seriously, because you were like put off.
Well, I wouldn't say I was put off, but I had just came home from a trip and, I think it would have been easier if you were like, you've been gone, let's just go spend some time together and we can talk and just kind of remove. Like, you ain't got to be specific.
I thought I did that, though.
Well, okay. Well, I don't know. I'm always...
You asked about what?
Yes.
And then when I answered, you was looking like, wait a minute now.
Right. It's like you say we going somewhere. I'm like, who's going to be there?
Okay.
Who's going to be over there? I want to know before I commit to doing something. I need to know the circumstance and the situation.
Gotcha.
So I can mentally prepare if I need to be prepared.
Yeah.
That's all I was doing was like trying to make sure.
You were bracing yourself.
Right. I was just trying to make sure I was in the mental space to give what you were looking for.
If you weren't, we could have done it on a different day.
Exactly.
Correct. That's correct. I get you.
Yeah.
So the whole gist of the conversation that I wanted to have was, what do we want in our day-to-day life as a couple now that we literally are about to be empty nesters?
Yeah,
like our daughter is graduating college soon. She's going to be moving out. And that changes the dynamic for who we are as a couple.
I think that's the background that we really have to stress is that our life is about to change significantly.
Right.
Like we've been empty nesting along the way because she's been away at college, but she's literally about to pack her stuff up
And get out.
and be out on her own. It's gonna be me, you, and the dog.
I'm sad.
And I think this is a conversation that a lot of people have to have with their spouse because, you know, who we are today is different than who we were 20, 30 years ago.
So, you know, I thought about something. I sometimes ask people in my coaching, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this to you, or how do you feel about this? And I just realized, just as you said that like her leaving, it's our final child outside the house, right? So we've done this twice. This will be our second time doing this. But I realized, I said I'm sad. And then in my head, immediately I was like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how sad am I versus excited for her? And honestly, I'm a bit more sad than I am excited. And it's because of the finality of it. There's so much more time that you and I will have together without kids in the house. And that was a fun time. And now, hold on. It's an end of an era.
But you saying it can't be a fun time?
No, but it can be. That's why we have our conversation.
That's what I was just trying to say, because I'm a fun person.
I know.
Okay.
But I'm gonna miss my babies.
Well, I miss.
Because here's the thing.
Them my girls.
Here's the thing. We got married and got pregnant 6 months after we got married. I don't know life without my children. Yeah. Like, I don't know our married life without our children crazy. As a part of it.
It's crazy when you think about that. Like, we had time together, then we had kids.
We had 6 months together before we were pregnant.
We had kids the whole time, so it's like we almost have to reset because the thing I have to be real about is, I said it just a minute ago, who we were then is a lot different than who we are now. And so, you know, this is a conversation that it's just so interesting, like as life evolves, how we have to stop and take inventory on our relationship with each other, our relationship with our kids, our relationship with family, extended family, in a number of ways, because you have to adjust.
Yeah.
And your expectations change. And what you will accept and what you won't accept, it changes because you know, you different than.
I'm not the woman you married.
You're much better.
You know what? That's good. You mean that? I'm not sure I believe you mean it, but hey, it sounds good.
Yes. You are. You're more confident, you're more mature, you're knowledgeable, you know, you're helpful, you're all those things. But I think that you have become more stern in some of your views and opinions. And
I think that because we got married so young, there was a lot that we had to learn about ourselves individually and each other. And then over time, you're a different person. So, you know, I was on Instagram and I saw this young man ask his grandfather, "Grandpa, how did you and Grandma stay together for so long? Like it was over 60 years. And his answer was, you have to keep falling in love with your wife over and over again because she changes over time. And so you have to fall in love with the new version of her. And I thought that was beautiful. And I
think that's necessary, or else you're going to have to, you're going to break up.
Yeah. And
because what if you don't like this new version?
And that's an interesting question. It's a very interesting question because, and I think it's an honest question.
Yes.
Because there was a time when you said to me, so I had a milestone birthday. I turned 40. And there was this moment where you said, you getting ornery in your old age. And I'm like, that's par for the course with my husband. Here we go, right? But what it meant was that there were things that I just sort of might have let slide, or things that I became more vocal about, that we had to work through, because I no longer felt like I could keep silent about my concerns or what I was going through or whatever. And I felt empowered to talk more about what I needed and wanted and things like that.
And I even think, like, when we first got married, like, we had similar but different upbringings, you know, because we both had single mothers, but, you know, my mother financially, she did what she had to do to try and make things work for us. And I know your mom, the financial situation might have been, you know, different or a little bit better. I know she still had to make things work for you all. But I felt like I was always, like, what's the best way to put it? Not acting older, but I had to, like, step up and step into things more so when I was young, because
it might be fair to say you were the man of the house.
Right, because I had an older brother and older sister, and there was a bigger gap. And so I literally was, like, you know, figuring my way out and trying to make things work, got jobs early, and just the ambition and motivation kicked in early for me, because I had to work towards doing more. You know, I paid my own way through college. I mean, I worked during the summers. I worked full-time, went to school full-time. And so I felt like when we met, I think one of the things that you liked about me is that I felt like a grown-up.
You did.
Because I had a job, I had a car.
You had a real cool car. I mean, for me, like, I was thinking, oh, he got a good car, you know, he got a job. He was about to graduate college.
Right, so I was like,
okay.
I was like doing my thing, and I like typically the maturity level for men lag behind that of women.
Yeah.
But I was like only a couple years older than you, but I was already like stepping into the role of being a leader and setting a direction.
Yep.
So when we got married, I was just like, okay, rolling, like, okay, this how we gonna do. But I always heard your opinion and inputs and thought. It wasn't like I was a dictator or anything like that.
Not at all.
It was always a collaboration.
I found it attractive. Like, I wanted someone who knew what they wanted, who was ambitious, who wasn't gonna be a slouch. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted someone who would provide
Had
direction.
A relationship with the Lord.
Absolutely. Like, all of that was attractive because and here's the thing, like, I wasn't a person who, like, had a list of what I wanted in my spouse. Like, I felt like I was young. The biggest things to me were that you love Jesus, and that obviously I had to be attracted to you because, you know, you was a little cutie. And then, like, I wanted someone who I knew would care well for me. Yeah. And so those things were important. I mean, you might call it simple, but the other thing that you said it without, in a way that I wouldn't have said it, you knew how to talk to adults, my parents or my other family members, and you were the same person when you talk to people your age. Like, you did not change who you were.
Yeah.
You were a person that I could be proud to walk alongside without saying, hey, clean yourself up while you with my people. I never had to do that. Like, you did have charm and charisma, but I think you also felt comfortable with who you were, that you didn't feel like you had to be somebody else. You didn't ask me questions about, how do I, talk to your dad? You didn't do that. You just came into the situation and knew how to handle it. That's attractive to me. And so at the time, that version of you is a reason why I was attracted and connected, right? And it's interesting because, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I've changed probably more than you have, and you've doubled down more on who you were or wanted to be more so, like became more of that person?
I think, that's probably true. Because for me to say that when you turn 40 is because you were evolving and you were learning more about yourself. You had learned more about yourself over the years and what was important to you and what you wanted to give voice to. I think the good thing about us is that it's always been like, I think communication's always been one of the good things that we have utilized in our relationship. Like, you hear me, I hear you. We collaborate on decision making. But as you've gotten older and matured, you literally have stepped into more of who you are and given voice to those things that are important to you. And I feel like because I was doing things to be like a man early, I just continued to matriculate because then we had children, we had a child. And it's like, I have to step more into, now I got to step into father role. And the father that I had was not the example that I wanted to be. So it was like, I took that mantle and I took that seriously. And then I had another child. So it's like, now I got a wife, I got 2 kids, I got a job, I got a mortgage. So I stepped into that. So it's like at every level along the way, I was always just stepping more and more and more into this leader, this protector, this role model, all of those things. And I was pulling from my past and history of who I had been or what I hadn't seen, And so you're right. I think I doubled down on that and just leaned into that more. And I have to be honest, like where there were places of issue, like if you ask something of me or want more, and I'm like, well, dang, I'm already doing a lot. Like, that's not enough. I don't want to do this other thing. And I think in some of those moments, I was stubborn. I'm not gonna say I could have been. I was stubborn, but I messed up too. I messed up.
How did you mess up, babe?
I think the one point of contention for us over the whole marriage, especially now, is like me cooking more. And that's the one thing that has been a constant conversation with us.
Because you stubborn. You just said it.
Right. I know, but I'm telling you why. Because I messed up. Because I can cook. See, I should have burned some stuff. I should have messed some meals up. And you'd have been like, you know what? Get out of here. I don't even want you to cook.
I am burning up some stuff now.
Yeah, I need to cook more now.
So I'm burning some stuff.
I think you're doing stuff on purpose.
I promise you I'm not. But stuff is starting to get off the rails, okay, over here.
But I think that's one area where, because I was skilled in that area, like I was skilled in other areas, you're like, well, hold on. If you can be, this over here and over there, why can't you be that with this as well, with cooking? And I was like, well, I'm doing everything else. I do more than most husbands do. And so I think that was some of my stubbornness probably coming out for something that really, we all got to eat.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be something that is a hill or a mountain that I want to die on. But, I have evolved as well. I do cook more. And we had to realize through conversations, how can I help contribute in that way and make it easy for you? Because that's your love language, was like
acts of service.
Acts of service is your love language. So it's like, okay, I don't want to think about the meal. I don't want to have to go shop for the meal. I don't want to cook the meal. But we do have an agreement. If you cook, then somebody else cleans up. So, if I cook, that's your responsibility, even though, when I cook.
You do a good job of cleaning when you cook.
Right.
Which is another reason why I like for you to cook.
Right, because then you don't have nothing to do.
And here's the thing, and you said it, it's a love language. And I think those can change over time. Yeah. So the truth is when we had kids in the house and they were little, I don't remember what my love language is or if it was the same.
It was get these jokers fed and to bed.
I mean, well, but there may have been other ways for it could have been quality time. Us getting out and having a date night could have been, I don't remember. I don't know what my love language was. But now, because I'm in a season of, I want us to be partners more. I see us in the cooking or cleaning or any act of service that has to be done around the home. Because a lot of it is just chores, right? That partnership is so much more important. And so I think that is a way that lately I have realized I probably have changed as well.
I think also you push back on traditional roles.
Yes.
Yes. You
Agreed.
don't like
Yes.
traditional labels where responsibilities are assigned to
A gender.
Yes. You do not like traditional gender assigned roles. You're like,
Yes.
no. And I think that is part
It
of
is.
like who you have become.
A woman's awakening.
Yes. And so I think that's part of like me understanding and learning that, because like when we had kids and we were in the thick of it.
I was more traditional.
Yes.
I gave you more traditional.
Right. And so then you won't go change up, and be like, well, I ain't that no more.
I ain't that no more.
I'm like, well, hold on. This is what I know now.
This is what I know and like. Hold on.
Who is this woman?
So that's why we back up and say, when you were like, she changing into somebody, do you like that person? You're like, wait a minute, I married a more traditional woman.
Right. But this is real talk.
It is.
This is real
It
talk.
is.
So as you listening, you might want to pause and like
And
look
have
at
a
your spouse and be
conversation.
like, look, this is you.
Yeah.
We need to talk about this, because real talk, if you don't talk about it,
Right.
that is when people end up getting divorced, because they're like, this is not who I married or what I signed up for. And I don't like it. And people don't always choose to work it out.
Right.
I've said it time and time again. More and more people are of the quick generation than the I will figure it out and work it out. We're part of Generation X. We are one of the most resilient generations out there, that we are always adapting and shifting. But we go back to like the 80s, like, look, we could square up too. Because we are that generation, but we are a resilient generation. Whereas now people pull the plug and they're like, no, I'm done.
And you know why? It's because when the kids leave the house, they look at each other and they say, I don't know who this person is. So either they say, I don't know who they are, or like you brought up, I don't like who they are, or I'm not trying to work to figure out who they are and if I can like this person.
Right.
Right. And so
I'm in my free era, so I'm going to go and be free.
And here's the deal. Like, we have our idiosyncrasies. We have our things between us where it's like, it's clunky or whatever.
You know what, though?
You love me. I love you too. And so
And all your idiosyncrasies.
and I want to do life with you. So like it means that it takes work, right?
Yep.
So like we can't assume that love is all we need. we can't assume that. Like,
I'm laughing because it's funny. Like,
it is.
People like, I love you too.
Yeah.
But I love.
Go mop that
It
floor.
need more. It take more than just
Pick
love.
up your clothes.
Right. Wash some dishes.
Make sure
Put
you
some
go to
clothes
work.
in the laundry.
Are you going to work? So like,
have some ambition.
like, give me a kiss. Like what? Like all of it.
Look.
That's real. And so like, if you wake up one day and you say, I don't know who this person was. I was at least 5 years, I have been saying, I like who he is. Because I've been thinking about the empty nest moment. And so I'm pretty certain when our youngest went to college is when I started saying to people, not just to you, but just to others, like, I like who my husband is. Like, I'm glad I like him. Like, I would just make those comments. Like, I'm glad I like him because in a minute, it's just going to be me and him. And so there is a difference between loving a person and liking them.
Absolutely.
And I think that, like, we are friends, and so I like who you are. And you can love someone and not want to live with them. You can love them and they can get on your everlasting nerves, you know? And so I just think that, and love is the choice. Like, I choose to be here and work through when we need to work through it.
You know what helps me? When I've seen changes in you and you've been, like, you've evolved. Because change isn't bad. You know, and I'm not trying to say that, like, even when I say you more ornery in your old age, I say that like jokingly, but it's an evolution.
And I didn't take it personally.
Right. And so here's what I also remind myself of. We're coming up on 28 years of marriage, almost 30 years together. If you were the exact same person that I met 30 years ago, today, I would think like, man, you behind. Like, nothing is going to change about you.
Right.
Are you going to not evolve? Are you not going to step into, like, new responsibilities, new characteristics? Because I'm not the same person. I may have doubled down on who I am and become more of that, but the responsibility has also increased. And so my capacity has had to increase.
That's why you've doubled down, because the capacity has had to increase.
Right. And so if I never changed and my capacity didn't increase to do more, to handle more, to explore more, experience more, I wouldn't be able to live the way I live today. And so it helps me to say, well, okay, her capacity is increasing. And I've seen it. I've watched. I remember when you were working for an organization as an engineer, and you had confidence, but, like, you were amongst a bunch of men and your confidence wasn't like sky high. You like questioned yourself sometimes, and you know, and you evolved into that. But then I remember when you first got into business on your own, and things weren't just flowing, and at different phases of your business, you know, you've had ups and downs, but you recreated yourself in your business 2 or 3 times. And now you command rooms, you command attention, people listen, you command executives. And if you never had changed or evolved,
I wouldn't be able to handle that.
You couldn't do that because it's required your capacity to increase. And that's why I've said, well, you know what? She's changing, she's evolving. I need that. And that's why I haven't pushed back. Now, sometimes it bumps up against it because I'm confident, you're confident. I'm like, well, hold on. Now, somebody's got to be the decision maker here.
Right. Who's the leader? Who's the follower? That kind of thing does happen. Yes.
But we as mature adults have learned when to pass the baton back and forth. Sometimes I have to give you the baton and let you run with it, then I support you.
Honey.
And a lot of times you have to give me the baton and I run with it and you support me. But that is what partnership looks like.
That's so good.
And partnership, partners don't always agree, but they can come to resolution for the benefit of the partnership.
Yep.
So
that's I don't know. I mean, are we done with the podcast episode? Everything you just said, ditto on that. But, you know, one thing that I asked you yesterday when we had our dinner was, what do you envision for us? Like, what do you need from our relationship in this moment on a day-to-day basis? Not like we align on the big picture stuff and all that. It's just the day-to-day stuff. And you had your, a couple of things, not a laundry list, but 3 or 4 things that that were really important to you that mattered. One of which was support, right? Encouragement. But I also had a few things on my list. And the interesting thing at the end of that conversation was neither one of us said we want love from the other. It was an assumed thing, right?
Right.
So, like, the interesting.
It was like we here because we love each other. Like
So I think it goes without saying, but it also means that we have a safe space in that love that we can say the other things that we need, because there might be relationships where love is the main thing needed. Right?
Oof.
Like they want to feel that love.
yeah, that is.
And I feel safe in our relationship where that's concerned, where I don't have to say it because it is a given.
That always blows my mind, because I'll tell you and all the people listening, I don't want to do life with anybody else. Mm-hmm. Like, we have to talk about, the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not kids they're always going to be our kids, but they're adults.
They're my babies.
But like, raising adults and like parenting, that's what it is. It's not raising, it's parenting adults is different.
Or parenting your adult children,
And so we have to shift and adapt to that new reality. And with that being part of it, then we have to shift to our new norm and reality of it's just us full time, because kids are a distraction.
They are.
Along the way. And I told you this last night. I said, I travel a lot, and I was traveling over like the last couple of weeks. It was spring break, and I saw all these families at the airport with like 2 or 3, 4 kids. And it was just interesting. Here I am, me and my backpack. And they've got kids and strollers and bags. And I was like, man, this is like an ordeal. You don't have time to focus on anything else.
Yeah.
But how do we get these kids from the car to the plane, from the plane to the hotel? And I could see it being like a mess, because this kid is over here like into this. They're like, no, come over here. And they holding one kid and they got another kid by the hand, and another kid is breaking down crying. I was like, woo, can I step around you all, please?
Do you remember when we went to an amusement park? I think it might have been Legoland, but I can't be certain. It was somewhere in California, because it could have been the California's San Diego Zoo.
Yeah,
it's somewhere. But we had one of our kids on a leash. Do you remember that? We did it one time. We did it one time. Never did it again. But we had to wrangle her, and so like, I get it. Like, it's chaotic.
Yeah.
And what is needed in that moment from your spouse is different than what I need right now.
Right. It's different when I remember on one of those trips, like the kids were tired and they started breaking down.
Yes.
Like, I was like, we got to get out of here, because they are flipping out. And what you need then is literally a partner in a different way. Because we're trying to manage the situation, get these kids out of here. But now it's like, example, one of our daughters will call us, and they'll try and, I think they be trying to play us against each other.
Now?
Well, not so much play us against each other, but they'll try and call one because they think they're going to get support.
Oh, okay.
In a way that if they call the other, the other's going to be like, no. But they don't, they know we talk. And when you call one, you might as well be calling both of us, because we're going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Kids.
Well, and we do say, hey, we're in the car together. Dad's here. You're on speakerphone. Before you start rambling about whatever it is you're talking about.
What up, though?
But,
they're like, hi, Dad.
Part of why this came up is because you were on a trip. I was at home. And I don't know if I even said this to you last night. I said this verbally to myself at home. I said, I had an aha moment. I'm lonely. Like, you traveling at the rate that you do. Let's say right now in this season, it is 3 of 4 weeks of the month. And not for 5 days, but still.
Yeah. And not every month.
It's routine during certain seasons of the year, right? Yes. And I realized, I was like, I'm lonely. So what that brought up for me was, you are not in control of that. That is not your problem or issue.
You being lonely.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you have to do what you got to do. You love your job. I am in support of you, all of that. And I am in control of the hobby or whatever it is I need to do to satisfy myself when you're gone, right? Like the the activities and things that I want to partake in, like I have to kind of figure that stuff out. And you remember, like I called you, or I don't know if you were home, and I said, I'm thinking about getting back involved with this organization and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about the fact that I need another thing
Another
in my
outlet.
life. Yes.
Yeah.
And so
I think that's the thing we have to remember, that what we can control what we tend to do, how we spend our time, because you were lonely, but you were really just bored, because I'm like entertainment sometimes.
Oh my God. Anyway, anywho, true, but yes, whatever. But like part of what I want and need, and I think is good for relationships, is hobbies, activities, things that you have
Right.
on your own, and also hobbies and things that we could do together. And so that is a part of the thing that I guess we'll be on the journey to figure out,
Yep.
because I think that those are the things that make the rest of the mundane, routine, monotonous stuff, like it's not so high on the priority list, if that makes sense. And so when we're thinking about like what we want in this season, that's a part of it.
It's interesting because, like I told you, I like cars. Growing up in Detroit, nobody can grow up in Detroit and not like cars. And I want vintage cars, or a couple things I can tinker on. And I said, I'm gonna take a mechanics course just so I know how to work on cars. So when I get cars that you can actually work on, or you don't have to have a computer for it to work, I was like, I need to do that, because then that is that's a hobby that I want to pursue. And I like it when we go bike riding together and, just different things. But I think that becomes more and more important at this phase of life. But I think the biggest thing that I hope people hear and take away from this, I think it's just time to get into the make it worth it.
Okay.
My make it worth it is so cliche. And I think I say it all the time, but I'm gonna say it again. You have to start communicating like honestly.
Yeah.
Like openly and honestly with things that you're happy with and things that you may not be as happy or pleased with. Because it's those things and it's those honest conversations that will open up the doors to creating hobbies that we do together, or addressing issues that one may have with the other, so it doesn't become a long-term hindrance.
Right.
And if you do that and do that openly, I think that's where success will become manifest.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. And I think that the communication is a big deal, because I guess my make it worth it will be that you can't assume that your partner knows what you want.
I'm not a mind reader.
Yeah. And I think even
You're
after...
not a mind reader.
And I think there's a part of us that wants to believe that 27 years gives us license to be mind readers. You know what I'm saying? I would love to believe that you could do that after this. And people say, you got to train your husband, or you got to train your wife, or whatever. I think that you have to really be explicit with what you want.
It's kind of understandable, though, that people would expect or think that, because they say you spend enough time together, you start looking like each other. I don't think that's happened to us yet, But how many times do we each walk out the closet and I was watching, I don't know, I was at a hotel getting ready to go somewhere, and I think it was the Tamron Hall show or something. It just turned TV on for background noise, and Gabrielle Union was on.
Yeah.
And she said, her and Dwayne Wade, she's like, do you know how many times we walk out and she said we get dressed on different sides of their bedroom, and they come out and they dressed alike.
We do that all the time. We probably do that 4 out of 7 days of the week.
And we get dressed, our closets are on different sides
of the
bedroom. But either one of us comes out, goes downstairs, and the other one comes just like, oh, dang, you dress like me again. Same color combination, same pattern.
It's uncanny.
But I'm saying that because you would think things that are really unconscious, we do in tandem. So it's like, well, why wouldn't you know what I was thinking or feeling? my actions and nuances and behaviors that would be indicators, but you still are not a mind reader. So
I think that it's only fair to actually be explicit with what you want and with what you desire, because you're not helping yourself or the other person. And so let's just assume you're when you say it, that, okay, great. The other person is like, well, thank you for saying it out loud. Yeah. Or you're like, well, now, like,
now I know.
Listen, like, it's just out here, right? And so I just think that that's just, that's being a grown up, huh? Yeah. That's being, not a teenager in your relationship.
It's better to say it than to just be thinking it and it never comes out. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think creating that safe space where you can have the conversation, be it good or not so great, like, I think that having a healthy ground, fertile ground for that to be okay is really important.
Talking about tough things doesn't mean it has to be bad. It just may require more concentrated thought or effort or like a listening ear and not allow yourself to be offended.
And positive word choice.
Yes.
Woo.
Yes. It's not the story, it's how you tell the story.
Come on. And on that note, because I think that's it. It's not the story, it's how you tell the story. Babe, good one. That's a good one.
So just keep coming back, keep listening. And until next time,
we're out.
Thank you for spending some of your time with us today.
We appreciate all of your support, so be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen to this podcast.
You can find us on Instagram at For Better and Worth.
And sign up to receive our free guide, The 7 Reasons Your Money Relationship Isn't Working with Your Partner, on ForBetterandWorth.com.
Until next time, we're out of here.